Welcome back to How This Mom Does It, and today I'm going to be answering assignment 4 for the virtual homeschool co-op, and today's question is, what is my homeschool emergency plan? If you're interested in seeing how we homeschool on the road, or what I would do in case of an emergency in our homeschool, stay tuned. So if you're not familiar with the virtual homeschool co-op, it is a group put together by Just So Trish, and I will include a link below to the virtualhomeschoolcoop.com, and you can go on and check out all the other vloggers and bloggers and all the assignments and questions that have been posted, and check all that out to learn more about what other homeschoolers are doing in their homeschool. But today's question is, what is my homeschool emergency plan? It's actually a really good question. I hadn't really thought about it before, and as I was watching the video and thinking about it, I realized we had a lot of things already in place that would be helpful in case of an emergency. Just how I've set things up. We go through a charter school, and I have to be able to take my work with us to our monthly meetings with our teacher so they can review everything. So we have to be able to be pretty portable with our work. We also do a lot of school in the car just with activities, and we're really busy. So I have things set up for that. We've also had to homeschool on different trips that we've done, so I've been prepared that way. And we also don't have a homeschool room, so that makes me be pretty portable in that we don't have a lot of space. So everything is pretty compact and has to be able to be moved around, so that kind of helps keep us organized and keep things pretty mobile. So what I thought I would do is show you some of the things that we use in our homeschool that I think would really help us in case of an emergency. And I feel like I'm pretty set up, but an emergency, or until you experience it, you never know what's going to happen. But I feel like in terms of what I could do, I feel like I'm as prepared as possible. And these are some of the things that I have that I'm using in my homeschool that I feel like would be helpful in case of an emergency. So the first thing that I have is my homeschool bag. And we have this because we go through a charter school, as I mentioned in the past. We have to be able to take our work quickly, pack it all real quick and be able to take it on the go to take it to our meetings. And we've also had to take this on trips, and if we're homeschooling in the car, different things. So it's great to have some kind of bag to put everything in. And I actually did a video on this particular bag where I open it up, go through it, show what I have in it, and I show the telescoping handle and all that kind of good stuff. So if you'd like to check out that video, I will include a card above that you can click on and look at the video for this bag. Last year I used a rolling box cart type thing with a lid on it and an apron around it with pockets, and it worked great. It actually held more stuff, which is good, but it started falling apart at the end of the year, and it was hard to get in and out of the car. So I upgraded this year to more of a luggage style bag, but I do have the old rolling box cart around, and it folds down flat for storage, which is great. So I have that in case of an emergency. I would open it up and shove as many books from our bookshelf as possible, because in an emergency, the thing that we would really lose, because I can't take everything with me, would be our books. So I would just try and save as many of our good quality books as possible by throwing them in that box if I had time. So that's another thing that I have, and they're fairly inexpensive to get. You can get them as cheap as $30, or I've seen them a bunch of different places for fairly inexpensive. And that would be something good to have around because it folds flat, so you can just pop it out, and if you need to fill it up quickly on the go, you could roll your stuff out and be on your way. So those are the two storage pieces, I guess you would say, I have for when we're homeschooling on the go, or if we had to leave our home quickly with our homeschool gear. So something else that we use that would be helpful in case of an emergency are our storage clipboards. Each one of my children has one, and I have these, I believe I showed these in a video previously, and I will link that above if I remember to do that. But basically, they're storage clipboards. So they have room in the middle, and it has room for plenty of worksheets, or even little workbooks if you have them. It has, as you can see, there has space for a chapter book. I put pencils in here, scissors, rulers, all kinds of stuff. And it snaps shut really easily. And this one is for my 4-year-old, and he can get in and out of it no problem as well. So they're really easy. And then their work clips to the top, and then they can do their work in the car or wherever they are. They have a workspace, which homeschooling on the go, I've found that having a workspace is really important. So we use this in the car and when we're going different places, but this would be great in case of an emergency. So I have these already, and that's what we would use if we had to leave the house quickly. I would grab these so each of the kids had their workspace, and I would throw them into my homeschool bag. So that is something else that would be great in case of an emergency. Something else that we use in our homeschool that kind of lends itself to homeschooling on the go, or if we ever had to leave in a hurry, is my binder system. And I do have a video on this. I will link it above in a card that you can click on if you'd like to see how I put it all together. I'm not going to flip through it and go through it, but I actually show what I put in it and how I put it all together and organize it. And also my daughter's binder and how I put all that together. But basically what it is every month I have a binder, and it has all of our work in it. Now, I don't pull apart every workbook that we use, because we do use a couple that I don't like to pull apart, but those, in case of emergency, I would just grab and throw into the bag. So I would grab this and the workbooks and throw it into the bag, and in the video on the bag, it actually shows the binder in there with workbooks and all of that, and how I organize it in the bag when we're on the go. But basically, all of my daughter's work is printed if it needs to be printed, or torn out if it needs to be torn out, and it's all ready to go for the month. So I know what we're doing, and once the work is finished, it goes back into the binder, and then this is what we take with us to our meetings at our charter. So it makes it super easy to just grab and go. So in case of an emergency, I would grab my work binder, which would make it really easy, and then I would also grab my daughter's binder because, and I have a video, the video shows kind of what's in here too, but I have her help things like her atlas and her writer's workshop portfolio, which has all my anchor charts and her spelling dictionary. And I have a video on this too if you want to see how I put that together. And it has a traveling word wall to help with her writing. So I have links and all that if you want to see that. But I would grab this because this has all of our, basically like things you would put up on your wall, all your helper things, teaching tools, songs to help learn writing and science, all of that I put in here. So I would grab that, and then this binder, and then our monthly binder, and I would have most of what I would need in addition to the extra little workbooks that she works through that I would grab and throw into the bag. So also in the binder video, I showed my clipboard with my lesson plans on it, and this is what the clipboard looks like. I usually have my lesson plans on it. I'm in the process of making a couple changes and reprinting them, but I show what it looks like in the video. So I would grab my clipboard. That gives me a writing space, and as we finish our work, I highlight off the lesson plan so I know what we've finished, and if we're behind or ahead, then I can work on what we need to. So I would grab my clipboard, and which is always together with the binders, and then I'd also grab my little pocket. And this is one of those like dry erase pockets that you'd put papers in so your kids could dry erase over it, or just like a little storage pocket. And I use this to keep our projects in. So I keep this with the binders, and I usually put any lap books, because folders will fit in here. So any lap books we're working on or projects for the month, they all stay in here. And any crafts we've finished that fit, I put in here as well. And then this is what I grab and take with me to our meeting with our charter school. So this also goes into the bag, and I believe I show this in the bag video as well, where I go over what we take with us. So, but yeah, I keep this with me, and it keeps all of our projects together, so they're not floating around the house. We work on it, we put it back, so this is easy to grab. Something else that I would grab real quickly and is really easily accessible to us are our pencil boxes, and each one of my children has one of these. They also have a kit in the car, so if I couldn't grab them, both children have a pencil box in the car, and I think it should be in a video that I've done previously, so I'll link it above if I remember. But I would grab this because it has basically everything we would need to sustain us for a while. I always keep a pack of counters, and these are holiday counters, and I have a video on all our extra math things that we have if you want to check that out. I have a small Judy clock that's portable, and pencils, and her scissors, and then this is a ruler. That's a slap bracelet. So it's a small ruler that folds up and then can wear as a bracelet. So this basically has what she would need to do school on the go if we needed to, and it's pretty portable. It's small and it zips, so it doesn't like fall apart and cause a big mess. So I would be grabbing this as well if we were on the go, and throwing this in the bag. So another thing that I have that would be helpful in case of an emergency, and something that I use while we're schooling on the go or road schooling, is our CDs, as well as our Audible account. And this is an old CD case that I had, and it just stays in the car. And it has our history, story of the world CDs, so we can do history in the car. Has composer studies, where it has the music of the composer, and then it talks about the composer. We have like our math wrap-ups to work on math facts and memorization, and these go along with the math wrap-ups that I've shown in a different video. And then we also have like our first language lessons, which is our grammar curriculum, and we can listen to that in the car. So we have quite a bit that we can do while we're on the go, and it saves me having actual physical books. I do usually have the book as well, but this is something that I keep so we can do things when we're on the go. The second thing is the Audible account, and that is such a big help. We've had our Audible account for many years now, and what I try to do is when there are sales on children's books, which they do, I believe like once or twice a year I've noticed, I will stock up on books that are on my book list for the next year. And I try to make it, as I've talked about it in some of my book list videos, that I try to have at least 1 or 2 books in my month for read-alouds that we do Audible. So that way, if we are in the car, we can still do our read-alouds and be listening to good quality literature, even if I can't read it or don't have time to read it, or we're on the go and we are trying to save time or whatever. And that also helps in case of an emergency, that we don't actually lose all of our books. And I have a huge home library. We don't have a schoolroom, but my living room is full of books. And if we did have some kind of really bad natural disaster or something, we would lose our library, which would be really, really sad because it's been years in the making. But we would still have our Audible account, because you can download books and listen to it pretty much anywhere that you have Wi-Fi or computer access to, or a phone. So we would always have some books, and we wouldn't lose everything. So I definitely feel like that was a good investment and something that we continue doing, and I continue to build our Audible library in addition to our physical books. So the CDs and then the Audible account is another way that it helps us do school on the go and would help in case of an emergency. So another part of our homeschool that would be helpful in case of an emergency is my Google Drive. I've been doing this for several years now, and basically I have a homeschool folder, and in that homeschool folder I have it divided by grade and some other topics too, but mainly by grade is kind of how I organize everything, and I've just found that to be easiest. So, for instance, this is 2nd grade for my daughter, and in it I have what a 2nd grader needs to know, so things that will help me know what she needs to learn. I have craftivities, language arts, math, our monthly binders, science, social studies, test prep, and then I have our themes, and then I have my 2nd grade lesson plans for the year, and it's a big spreadsheet, and there's a tab for each week of the year. And then it also has our curriculum picks, our themes, my read aloud list, like everything is in that spreadsheet. So it's kind of like my brain for the year, and those individual tabs are what I print out and put on my clipboard when I take things with me. So this, though, is always available. It's in the cloud, so if my computer gets destroyed or whatever, then I know that this is still available for me. And I didn't do it for emergencies. though when I started thinking about it, it's perfect for an emergency. I did it so that when my son came along, who's a few years behind, I would have everything lined out and I wouldn't have to do all the work all over again. So really it was just to make my life easier. And I'm kind of a spreadsheet organized person, if you can tell. So the spreadsheet just works good for me, and it's not a physical lesson plan I'm going to lose. I can change it, I can print it, I can email it to our teacher at our charter if I need to. It's just how I work best. So so I have that, and then I have first grade as well. But a lot of our, as I was thinking about it, a lot of our curriculum is printable. So like our math, we're using Math Mammoth. Well, that's, you download it and I save it. So I can print out Math Mammoth. I can print out all of our worksheets. I have our daily math meeting and review I could print. Extra homework things that I've saved, timetails that I've purchased, and it's a digital. Like, I try and get as much digital as possible. And then the same goes for our science. We did elemental science, and that is also downloadable. So I have it separated by earth science, life science, physical science, and I have a science journal. So I just would click on life science and go into the elemental science folder and print out our work if we lost it. So I also, for story of the world in our social studies, I have it downloaded. I have the story of the world student pages and also an organizer where it's all laid out for me, and all that's printable. So I'm able to go through and just reprint what I need to. So a lot of these things, and also the writing units, as I was thinking about it, I have a lot of it's printable. So it's all replaceable. And I wouldn't lose as much. I would lose some workbooks that we do work through, like Plaid Phonics and Spelling Workout and a few things, but those would be easily replaceable. A lot of this work would be safe. And that is just is very great peace of mind to have. But in my language arts, I have grammar, handwriting, literature, phonics, spelling, and writing, and I have all my writing units that I use, everything that I bought on Teacher Pay Teachers. I also, as I was thinking about it, could go back onto Teacher Pay Teachers, and anything that I purchased, I can re-download anywhere I go. So there's a lot of things that, there are a lot of great benefits to doing a lot of it digitally and printing, because you could just reprint. It is costly to do the printing initially, but when I purchase it, I purchase things in the thought that I would use them for my son when it was his time and I would save money. But in case of an emergency, having these things that are printable is really handy. So having a Google Drive or some kind of cloud where you have things saved that aren't just on your computer, where they're safe, would be really important. And that's how we do our pictures too. Like all of our pictures, we try and save to the Google Drive, so if something were to happen, we wouldn't lose all of our pictures, because I've had friends who've lost their pictures before of their kids, and that's just really sad, and I didn't ever want that to happen. So our pictures and all that kind of stuff we save to the Google Drive so that we can keep those things if something were to happen. So, but that is another way that I guess I am prepared in case of an emergency, so I can reprint a lot of our work and my lesson plans, and keep us organized and still homeschooling in case there is an emergency. So I also just wanted to talk briefly about like a portfolio. We don't have to do one. We go through a charter, and there are a lot of pluses and minuses to going with a charter. One of the benefits is that you don't have to do a portfolio. They maintain all of the reporting for us, which is one of the reasons why I go through the charter, so I don't have to do all that. But if I did have to put together a portfolio, I would scan it and keep digital copies of some of the work, or as much as I could do, in the folder for the year. So in the second grade folder on my Google Drive, I would have one for my daughter, and then when my son came along, was in that grade, I would have one for him. And I may end up doing that eventually anyways. I do keep work in tubs per year, just because I like to keep my own records, because you never know. And eventually I may scan some of that in just to get rid of some of the paper, but still I'm keeping some of the work just for our own records. But that's how I would handle it if we did have to do a portfolio. And that is my response to the virtual homeschool co-op assignment number 4. What is my homeschool emergency plan? I will try to put links either below or in cards above to all the videos I've referenced today, and I will also be including a link to the virtualhomeschoolcoop.com so you can check out all the other responses from vloggers and bloggers who are participating. I hope you liked this video, and if you do, click like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.